going on, just so you know.
We are
All
live.
right. Happy Friday and welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us all the way from like 2 miles from each of our houses, Doug Collins.
Hi, everybody. Hey, yeah.
We're coming to you live from South Minneapolis today, and folks are already ready for the party. And yeah, John, let's go. Well, we're going to go. Gary, hi, Gary, and
Ihrig.
our good friend Annie Enneking of Annie and the Bang Bang.
Aw.
Hi, Annie. And Connie from Richfield. And we are so excited to have Doug here for several reasons. And again, we're not fooling. We know it's April Fool's Day, but this is no joke.
Right.
We're here for serious fun. That is what's going to happen today. And we even have our serious jackets on. We all have blazers on today.
Well, Doug showed up wearing that amazing looking suit, and we had to like at least come close, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no like hooded sweatshirts or t-shirts today.
No,
So
I was shamed into wearing this by Ellen online, so she has no one to blame but herself. That's all I'm saying. You guys look great, though.
yeah, and
Thank
tell
you.
us what you're donning today, and also let us know, since it is April Fool's Day, if you had any pranks played upon you, or if you did any to anyone else. We'd love to hear them in the comments. So share them there. Also, tell us what you're drinking, because it's Friday at 4 p.m. Central, which for us on Back Catalog means it's time to drink and
Listen to music.
and listen to music and hang out with you.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. But I like the order. You have the order right.
Well, it also seems appropriate, Doug, because you have a new single out today
I do.
called Drinking Again,
I do.
which is so awesome. So this feels appropriate that this is what we're doing
Look
today.
at that.
Oh, look at that. I love how creepy that is. There's a lot of vibes in that.
There really
There's a lot
is.
of vibes. Yeah.
So that's available on all the digital places. And today on Bandcamp,
Yes.
Doug gets 100% of the sales. So go check it out. That's awesome. But Doug, are you drinking anything today? Since
I am. I am drinking I have it in my little koozie right here. I'm drinking a Moon Man beer from New Glarus.
Ooh.
Oh,
Snuck
Wisconsin.
I snuck it over the border. Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
But that's why I'm covering up, because I don't want to get you guys to get a ticket.
Tasty brew.
No, but that's what I'm having. What about you guys? What is everyone drinking today?
It's a Jameson day for me.
Oh, nice.
Excellent, excellent.
Anthony?
I'm going back to Colorado to the Avery Brewery for the White Rascal Belgian White.
Wow.
It's a very delicious.
Very fancy. Cheers,
Well,
everybody.
cheers, everybody.
Clink.
Chink.
And we'd love to hear what you are drinking. Maybe you're snacking on something. Throw it in the comments. If you're new to the show, this is what we do. I mean, we don't just do this. We actually listen to music and talk about it. But
It's going to be a long show, everybody.
exactly.
Or really
Oh,
short.
Charlie Farley. Yay.
And but we want you to participate in the show. So you sharing comments and questions for Doug or for any of us is part of the show. So we hope that you'll participate in that way. But yeah, the basic premise of this show is that we invite artists that we love, and we ask them to pick out one of their older records to talk about. So Doug, you picked Good Sad News, which came out in 2018, and we were just talking about like 2018. Wasn't that yesterday? Oh wait, no. A few
Was it
things
yesterday
happened.
and or 4 years ago? I mean, yeah, great times. Good times.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Good Sad News feels appropriate to describe the last 4 years too.
Yeah. Well put.
But for folks who maybe aren't familiar, a lot of Twin Cities folks probably are familiar with you and your music because, at least in normal times, you are often out there playing a lot of places, and you're starting to get out there again.
Mhm.
But for folks who maybe are tuned in from other places or aren't familiar with your music, maybe you can give a brief little, the 2-minute bio of where you grew up,
Oh.
how you got into music, how you started wearing these dapper suits.
Wow, that's a lot of information I'm going to be sharing. Uh, I'm originally from outside of Davenport, Iowa, and moved up here into the Twin Cities in the years ago in the 80s, and played around for a while. And then I took a break while my son was growing up. So I took, a 20-year spring break, and then started playing again probably back in 2012. And when I started playing out again, I was also like, I'm always amazed I always think the performers should look better than the audience. And so that's why I started to get into that, of wearing suits. And also I love it. It's something fun to do. So if you know any place to go vintage shopping that I don't know about, let me know, please.
Yeah, throw it in the comments, folks.
Yes.
Whether it's local or not, because Doug gets around, and
I-
so he. I mean, what I mean.
That sounds good, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
You can tell by his
performing.
collars.
You can.
Doug gets around.
Hello. So what were we talking about?
Oh my goodness, love it.
Bio.
Yeah. That's it.
And then this album, what you started playing music again in 2012. So where does this album come in? How many albums did you have kind of in that second phase of your career?
Yeah, we've done, I'm trying to think, 1, 2, 3. So it's the most recent one that we've released. So 2018. So yeah, we had been together and then had gone through, like all bands do, lineup changes. And this is the one that we recorded. We had, I had another guitar player, but he left. And so then this was kind of done as a 3-piece. So we had to pull in a bunch of people a bunch of studio cats to help out, fill out the sound and everything. So, so it was 2018. We recorded it, with the wonderful Rob Genetic at Uptown Studios. So please, for all your recording needs, Rob Genetic, you owe me for pushing you like this. And so it's the last one that we did. And then, like I said, we're finishing up now, and hopefully we'll have something out this summer.
Excellent.
Yes. And when you say we, he's not talking about the royal we. Doug
Yeah,
has a band called The Receptionists.
Oh, look at those guys.
Yeah, look at them. Oh, and I recognize Randy Broughton on the left. Great pedal steel player. Folks might have seen him in Trailer Trash. Trailer Trash was one of our past guests on the show.
Oh, okay.
So.
And then next to him is Charlie Varley. Hi, Charlie. I know you're out there.
Yes. Hi, Charlie.
There's me, and then there's a wonderful Billy Dankert as well.
Nice. And
these are the receptionists.
These are the receptionists. Photo by Renee Broughton, Randy's wife. So thank you, Renee.
Nice. And so the receptionist, I have to ask, does this come from your day job life?
Yes.
And do they actually take your phone calls and messages for you?
They do. Yeah. That's part of it.
But do they deliver them? Do they just take them and never tell you about them?
It's always like a couple days. It's like, oh yeah, they called. And I'm just like, no, but it came from, we were just starting to get together. I was starting to get together with friends again. And a friend of mine got married, and he's just like, what should we call the band? And I was just like, well, we're playing at your reception. Let's call them the reception.
Oh, so not office, but.
Well, but it was also tied up because everyone knew I was a receptionist. So in my day job. So it all just came together just like that.
Awesome. Well, let's give folks a taste of this album we're going to revisit today. Again, the name of the album is Good Sad News, and the first track we're going to listen to is Conversation with My Heart. Is there anything you want to say about it? But before we take a dive?
This is one of the few songs, the only song right now that's out there that we have released a video for. And we had to shoot it in the middle of summer, out in Waconia. It was super hot, and I got to see my son dress up, as you will see later. So that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Doug Collins, Conversation with My Heart, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I gotta have a conversation with my heart. Lately it's been doing things that are tearing me apart. It keeps doing things on its own, and I'd rather be left alone. I gotta have a conversation with my heart. When I'm walking down the street and someone smiles at me, why do you always skip a beat? Why do you never ever let me be? I gotta have a conversation with my heart. Lately it's been doing things that are tearing me apart. It keeps doing things on its own, and I'd rather be left alone. I gotta have a conversation with my heart. Can I spell it out for you? Heart. If you who are trying to make me blue, then why do you keep doing all these things to me? I gotta have a conversation with my heart. Lately it's been doing things that are tearing me apart. It keeps doing things on its own, and I'd rather be left alone. I gotta have a conversation, or at least a small vacation. I gotta have a conversation with my heart.
All right, Doug Collins and the Receptionist here on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Conversation with My Heart from their 2018 release, Good Sad News, which we are revisiting today on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Mr. Collins himself, all the way from South Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And
what a great way to kick off the weekend, man.
Yes. Well,
good.
thank you.
That's some rock and roll here on the Back Catalog Listening
yeah.
Party. We do a lot of roots and folk and Americana, and there's a little bit, it's all on a spectrum, really. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited that we're on the rockin' side of the spectrum today.
Well, don't be, just wait. No, it'll be fine. It'll be great.
his jazz phase was really
interesting. Yeah, you guys like free jazz, right? Don't worry, that's the rest of the record.
Well, Penny says she loves it, and
thank you, Penny.
And we appreciate hearing from you out there. If you have questions for Doug, comments, anything you want to. I
want to say, Annie, thank you for the idea for Pearl Vintage. I have been there, but it's been a while. But thank you.
Yeah, great stuff. And speaking of vintage, I mean, this song and a lot of your music has this kind of vintage rock and roll kind of vibe. Like I picture like a kind of that mix of like classic country and like dance hall rock and roll.
Oh, great.
So like, where does that come from? What did you listen to growing up?
I listened from the age of 13 till now, like the Beatles on a loop. And then when I wasn't listening to that and all that British invasion stuff when I was in high school, and then, like Minneapolis stuff, like the Replacements are a huge fan of those guys. And then like all that classic country stuff, like Hank Williams and, I love Roger Miller. I love, Patsy Cline stuff. All of that kind of stuff just there's an emotional directness to it that I really like. So I always say when people ask, and they do, what do you sound like? And which is, of course, as you guys know, as musicians, just like you can
the
never
question.
Say, I sound like me. I'm good. But I just always say it's if the Beatles and Hank Williams had a baby in Minneapolis. Oh. So I try and be as quick to the point. But those are the things that I listen to and still do to this day. Just lots and lots of that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't help but just be reminded of some of that Twin Cities root stuff, you know, Honey Dogs
Yeah.
and Jayhawks and stuff when I
Oh,
hear
great. Yeah.
that kind of vibe too.
Mhm.
Little Minneapolis rubbing off on that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this song, as you mentioned before we took a listen to it, Conversation with My Heart, there's a great video of it, which folks have to check out. We'll put a link in a little bit in the comments so folks can check it out and they check it out later. But as you mentioned, your son, well, you're in the video. I think Katie Vernon's in the video, you know, some other
Yes.
local celebrities, but that's your son. And
That's my boy.
Tony, when we were looking at this photo before he came on the show today, Tony's like, "That's you, right?" And it was like, "Nope."
No.
Yeah,
That's
spitting
his son.
image.
That's what my son and I are always like. We don't think we look anything alike, and I guess people keep correcting us. So
Sorry, no denying
if
that
I
one,
look as
Doug.
good as my son, I will take that compliment. So
Yeah.
No, that's great. And now I'm really intrigued to see this video.
yeah,
all,
you
all
should.
I have to say is basically it involves like Doug's son as a freeform heart chasing people around, and it's hilarious. So I think folks have to check.
Thank
it
you
out.
to Dave Dennison who shot that.
Yeah.
So he's a wonderful guy. Reader Homestead fella out in Waconia. So thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good stuff. So, and yeah, tell us a little bit about the song itself. Did that come from a conversation with your heart or with someone else?
No, it's just it came up. You know, I was a single man, and at the time, and it was just like, you know, you just get tired of I got tired of my heart like reaching out for things that I knew I didn't want, but would still like. Why am I attracted to this person I have no interest in? You know what I mean? And so it was like, yes, I want to have a conversation. I wish I could have a conversation. The next thing I know, I was scribbling notes. So that's where it came from.
Yeah. And when you write, are you someone that, just will hear like an inspiration like that and just need to like write it down right away? Or are you a more like disciplined writer? Like, do you need to like?
It depends. Right now, during the pandemic, I was writing a lot because, well, let's be honest, there wasn't, we weren't doing anything else. There was a lot, as I always say, there was a lot of me on the floor in a fetal position crying. But when I wasn't doing that, I mean, I've always been one who can write a lot, that does write a lot, and it usually I'll think of a line, and that is what the jumping off point. And the line for this one was the titles. A lot of times it's not the title; it will just be something else. But this one was conversation, and then it was just like, where do you go from that? And then, like I always say, songwriting is like, the old expression, it's like 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Because it's work. You have to put that elbow grease in to see what the song, what does the song mean? What does that title mean? And how can you write? It's like the English major in me. How do you get the thesis? Here's the theme. What is this? And how does everything play into that? So that's what I try and do.
Well, that's something that I really admire about your songwriting and good, kind of in that vein of good classic country songs, is that sort of economy of words,
Yes.
where you can say a lot and convey a lot of emotion in like in simple language and in concise language, which I think people think, oh, it's easy to rip off like a song like that, and it's really hard to like really pare it down until it's like you're sculpting it until it's really small.
Oh yeah, like I remember like listening on a loop to Hank Williams, and I tell the story and then I always forget it, just like You're Cheating Heart, and just like You'll Walk the Floor the Way I Do. If there's something about that set of words where it's just like, I was just like, how can you get across that much emotion in like 7 words?
Yeah.
Because I'm a loquacious fellow usually, so I'm a lot of chatter. And to trying to do less with more is always just like, that's what I think the great country songwriters, like, Willie Nelson and all those people too, were just like, it's a straight line of just like perfectly stated thought and emotion, and not trying to get off the path of what you're trying to say, which is very, very easy to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you find that that you have to like, that you'll write a song and then have to go back to it to again carve it out a little bit more to?
Every single one. There's very, very, very rarely is there been a song where it's just like I get done. Well, I will get done. As everyone knows, there's that here's the, oh, I'm writing this song. Oh, that's a great song. I've really done it. Then all of a sudden, boom,
That's the worst.
terrible. What
Oh,
am I
this
doing?
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's kidding who, Collins? Hit the bricks. Yeah. So it's, yeah, I think you have to go back because I mean, you have to always be working on it. There are songs that like, you know, I've worked on, and the whole thing is like, is it but or is it the? You know,
Right.
is it and?
Right.
You know, because all those things mean different in that, you know, when you're putting things together like that, and it all pays off. So
Like
it's the little things.
Especially when there are so few words. I think that's another thing that
Yes.
with that kind of style of songwriting, it's like if you're going to have really short verses and choruses, then every word like has more impact than it would if it's like a string of you know, like a long Bob Dylan song where it's a stream of consciousness thing. Not that those words aren't important, but it's it's not like every conjunction carries as much weight when you
Well, and that's
twice
what I
as many words.
and I am a huge Dylan fan, and I always say he's like one of the worst things that's happened to that kind of songwriting, because he can write these beautiful like Visions of Johanna where it's just like super dense imagery, and you really have to take your time and unpack it. But then other people, you know, guilty, would try and do that, and it was just like, this is terrible. And so yeah, it's funny when you see like someone who's a natural at it, like him, at doing these, and he does do pared down songs as well. But like when he was in this mid-60s stuff, was so dense, just like I don't know how anyone can do that. And trust me, I've tried. You know.
Well, there's some parallels there with that idea of the country music kind of distilling things down. I'm really fascinated with that. It makes me think of this Mark Twain quote. Maybe you guys know it. I don't know the quote, so I'm not going to try to say it. But basically, he was just talking about the importance of every word, and he was talking about the idea of like lightning versus lightning bug. I don't remember the quote if anybody out there remembers it, but he was like, everything is really important, and he used that juxtaposition between just adding bug after lightning and how different that is going to make it. And I feel like the really good country writers, really good songwriters and poets out there are able to transform a sentence, you know, by what was that Hank Williams quote you were just
from You're Cheating Her, you'll walk the floor the way I do.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's like, because we've all done that, you know, where it's like you know, it's like Willie Nelson talking about, you know, ain't it funny how time slips away? And he's talking about this romance of his and how it's utter, you know, he sees somebody on the street, and we all have that. We've all had that happen to us. And the way Willie Nelson sets it up in that, it's beautiful, it's straight, and it's true. And it's like a hit punch in the heart every time. And I've heard that song like 1,000 times. And every time I hear him, I'm always just like,
well, he got right to the core.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what I try and do. And notice I want to underline the word try. So
well, we all try and be a little bit more like Willie, you know, in various ways.
I think that's good, very good rules.
Now it's often Doug Collins and the receptionist. Is the songwriting Doug Collins and the receptionist, or are the principal songwriter?
I'm the principal songwriter. Okay. Yeah. Right. And those guys just help immensely with arrangements and just such good sounding boards on, you know, I trust their opinion so much that if they say something and I may not, you know, I'll come in there, and of course if I'm showing it off, then you get kind of cocky. It's just like, oh yeah, the song's great. And then if they have any questions, they're like I will listen to everything they say. Because usually it's always like, why don't we do this here? Or why don't we do this here? And it always helps the song immeasurably. And I think if you're lucky enough to find like-minded people to play with who can help you improve, consider yourself lucky, which I do. I consider myself very lucky.
Yeah. Well, those are the best kinds of receptionists, people.
Yes, they're very receptive to me.
Well, if you just tuned into Back Catalog Listening Party, we're talking with Doug Collins, joining us from South Minneapolis, revisiting his 2018 release, Good Sad News. And we're going to dig into another track from this album called Little House Built for Two. Is there anything you want to say about the song before we take a listen?
We were just talking about songwriting, and this is one that I had the title, the first lines, and I was stuck. I was stuck for 2 or 3 weeks. I could get nothing done. I couldn't figure the way to get into the song. And then when I found out what the song was about, it took me as long as it took to write the words to finish the song.
Wow.
So it's like, and that never, ever happens. And I got done. I was just like, well, so I ended up, I guess, vomiting out some, something or rather. Anyway, let's listen to the beautiful song. Okay.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Doug Collins, Little House, Built for Two, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Well, it finally came true. That little house built for two. After all we've been through, that little house built for two. After all the days and all the hours, we can say this is finally ours. That little house built for two. Then why aren't I happy? And why are you so blue? We both did everything that we were supposed to do. So here we are in this place, that little house built for two. I've never seen a lonelier space than that little house built for two. And we may never know why, but this is the place that we'll say goodbye. That little house built for two. Yeah, we'll say goodbye and then I'm never going back there again. That little house, that goddamn little house, that little house built for two.
Doug Collins and the Receptionists with Little House Built for Two. And from his album 20 that came out in 2018, Good Sad News, which we are revisiting today on the show. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to throw them in the comments and we'll get to as many as we can. And you had said that this song was one that kind of you had like an idea for a while, but it took a long time to find your way in to the house.
Yeah.
So to speak.
It did. Well,
so
that was clever.
But you were talking about how then when you start writing it, it just sort of came out. And I don't know about you, but I always find that sometimes those songs, it's like they've actually been percolating in the background for a long time. It's sort of like when your computer's running lots of programs in the background and you don't really notice until it, until it slows down, and then you're like, oh, there's a lot going on right there, And
Oh yeah, sure. And I think that. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what happened. It was, well, I was also trying to make it into, I wanted it to be a happy song. I wanted it to be a song about, we got this house. Here's a happy song about young love and getting a house. And then I was just like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with that after that? It's just like, that's why I think happy songs are like impossible to write because there's no drama in them. It's just like, oh, I feel good. I'm feeling good. I'm happy.
Right.
And that's where I was just like, well, what happens when you buy a house and then the house, then you split up. And then as soon as I did that, then it was just like, well, that took 2 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, it was, I'm sure it was all back there, but it was not, I was, like I said, trying to get in one way. And then all of a sudden I saw the opening and then it was easy peasy after that.
Mm-hmm. And so when you wrote it, did you know what kind, like, do you often have an idea of how it's going to sound in terms of like when you bring it to the band, or do you kind of leave that pretty open to the band to kind of help you flesh it out?
I think I usually have a pretty solid idea of what it's going to sound like. And then what they do and do so well is help with, they played, I always think it's like casting. They say casting in the theater and film is the most important thing, because I know what these guys can do. And they just bring themselves to the, don't listen to anything that Charlie Barley says.
Oh, love it.
I take back everything positive I said about the band. So,
for those who are just listening to this, Charlie says his band is way better than him.
But, and who knows, since he's in the band.
No, that's true. So that's what gets me. But yeah, so it's just like you bring stuff into them, and then they do their thing, and then it's putting the pieces together, and then it's just like, well, does this work? Does this work? Does it need a break here? Mm-hmm. What if we do, and this song, I remember Billy Dankert, the drummer, was just like, why don't we do at this break part? And we did that twice the song, and it added a, the ear wants to hear something different all the time. So it adds a little bit of that. It becomes like another little hook. And it also is just like kind of adds to the chaos of the lyrics, if you will. So I think it's those little things like that they add.
Yeah.
And they are pretty good, Charlie. Whatever.
And when I know you play with these guys a lot around town, so is that kind of how you kind of do you codify these songs more from playing live and then go into the studio, or was this an album that you kind of worked on and then just went straight to recording?
This one was more it was more kind of in the studio. A lot of that stuff was not, we had the songs ready, but it seemed like with the last record that we're doing right now, finishing up, we had a 2-year break. Everyone did. The world stopped. And but it was, we were doing this, and then of course we stopped, and then we trashed half the record, and then we're playing out live. And the more you play live with the songs, I have a friend of mine, James Loney, who always says you should only record a song if you've played it out a year. And I don't know if I always agree with that, but I think that's very solid advice, where it's just like, then you kind of get into your parts and the song, and there's a different feel to it. But this one was a little more, God, 2018, I'm trying to even think. We had played a lot of these songs live. There's not too many songs on this record that were, I think there's only one or two on there that we've only played a couple times. But the rest of the ones, we went into the studio pretty prepared.
And what? Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, we call that road testing a song.
Oh, it's so true.
And I think it's a lot for those who aren't, doing the songwriting thing. It's almost like stand-up comics, how, that you go out and you kind of see what works. And it's not just the audience's reaction, but that helps, right? Like there's an energy when you do it together. And the more you do it, the more you can kind of codify those parts.
Right. Well, I used to do at the Warming House, the late and lamented Warming House, I would do a songwriting class like once a month. Not a class, but I'd host a songwriting circle. And it was the same thing. Everyone would play like one or two songs, and it would be, I came to rely on like how these songs went over, because Conversation with My Heart, one of the ones I remember I played that there, and I was like, oh, this is done. I know how great this song is, kind of thing. And I played it for everybody, and a friend of mine who was there was just like, what about this? And I was just like, oh, God damn it.
Well, I do feel like also when you play a song for other people, whether it's your trusted friends or band members, or even or a live audience in particular, I feel like it's almost like a mirror. It's not just the feedback that the individuals are giving you. I feel like I have my own internal reaction. Like sure. if I say a line where I'm like, ooh,
you're cringing.
Yeah, and like internally cringing, where I'm like, yeah, okay, I need to go back and fix that, because I don't want to ever sing that in public again.
in front of people again, who are looking at you afterwards like,
right, or you
rhyme.
Right, or you like get nervous about playing a part, and then you're like, okay, maybe there's a reason why I'm nervous about playing this in front of my peers. Like maybe it's not that good.
Sure. Well, and that's why I think playing live is just so. And I know there are people I know that record, so then they have they record because they love to record, and they play live, so then they can then get money to record. And I'm exactly the opposite. I like the studio, and I love the studio, but I love playing live so much because there's also just that connection with the audience that you're never going to get, you can't give your CD to somebody and then like leave or sit next to them while they're listening. Is it good?
How weird would that be?
How is that?
Unless you're on the back catalog listening party.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Which this is always the time we're about at the halfway mark here, where we do say that, you know what, there is kind of a lost art of putting the CD next to someone and listening to it. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did want to take this opportunity to let people know that this is a special sounding CD. It sounds really good. We'll probably talk about the recording production later. But for those of you who are interested in picking this up, Doug Collins and the Receptionist.bandcamp.com. You can get the full resolution version of this. It sounds fantastic. And today is Bandcamp Friday, which means 100% of the sales go to Doug and the Receptionist. Well, maybe like 90% to Doug and 10% to the Receptionist.
Charlie's not getting anything.
We'll let them work that
figure
out.
it out.
But, if you're thinking about throwing something in his tip jar or whatever, this is probably the best way to do it because he's going to get every cent, no transaction fees. Bandcamp allows you to add more than the stated price. So I just wanted to quick get that in while we're talking about listening together.
And also, I have it on good authority that Doug has some copies at his place that he would love to get rid of to free up some storage space. So if you would like to order a physical copy of the CD and maybe have Doug sign it, I bet he would do that. He might even sign his own name. I don't know. Or maybe he'll sign Willie Nelson's name.
I'll sign it Charlie Varley, the bass player's name.
Exactly. And so you can check that out. Are those also available through the Bandcamp site?
They're not because I have so few left. They're all in my trunk. Every
so basically, hunt down Doug Collins. We'll make sure to get his contact info, certainly through the website.
I drive a gray Camry, so if you see a gray Camry, just start honking.
Yeah, and no matter where it is, it might be in Iowa, it might be in Minneapolis, but just knock on that window.
I'll be in Iowa soon, so if you're down there, if you see a gray Camry,
it's probably Doug. If he's wearing a suit, it might be Doug.
Yeah, which I love to do in long car rides. It's so
exactly. But no, seriously, get the high res files because it sounds fantastic. And we're going to take a listen to another song here, but I do want to point out, maybe we can bring up the album art because it's so fantastic. And when we posted this week on Facebook, one of our past guests and good friends, Becky Schlegel, commented on how awesome this cover was. It has such a great vintage, like old school, like you'd think this was taken maybe in the 60s or something. Or 70s maybe.
I mean, John Hunt, who I cannot push hard enough, he is wonderful. He has done my last couple records, the art for it, and I just told him, I said, "This is what I like." I didn't even tell him. I just he said, "Send me a handful of pictures," and I did. And then he said, "Well, how's this look?" And I was just like, "Well, that's exactly what I want it to look like." So I was I just think I'm very, very happy with how that album cover turned out.
And I also love your expression in this because I feel like it's like
I am looking into the distance.
You're either squinting at the sun or you're very confused.
I think that's what I and also once again, I remember it was 100 degrees out. And so I was just soaked all the way through. And that's probably what I was saying. It's just like internally, get me out of here.
Well, whatever the good, sad news is, clearly it's reflected on your face.
Yeah.
You just heard the good,
it's
sad
a money
news.
maker right here. So I always say a variety of things that I feel come right through.
Well, let's get to more of those feelings on this next song. This is Please Don't Make Me Leave You, which sounds like there's going to be feelings in this song.
There's going to be some feels.
Okay.
I hope. You tell me.
Okay.
All right. Anything you want to say about it, or should we just give it a listen?
Just really quickly, the first time I played this for the band, I was really embarrassed because I hadn't written a song like this before. And I was just like, I don't know if we should do it. And my bandmates were just like, no, we like this. You really have to do it. And this would have been one that I was like, I really didn't even want to play in front of them because it was not what I usually had done. But
so you said song like this. Please define. What does that mean?
Well, you're going to have to listen to it. A song
Like extra, like more feelings, more
No,
raw.
it was because it's to get all musician-y. It's like, it's a 6/8, like slower, like Roy Orbison type number, and I hadn't written anything like that. And I'm a huge fan of that music, obviously, and it came out this way. But I was thinking, like, it's like that thing when you share something, and usually it's the stuff that is so close to you that it's hard to share like that. So it's always just like, I was doing the old, this is stupid. You're not going to take it anyway. It's dumb. And, they liked it. Thanks, fellas. So yeah, let's give it a listen.
All right. This is Doug Collins. Please Don't Make Me Leave You here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Please don't make me leave you, 'cause I'm the one who loves you so. Please don't make me leave you, 'cause I could never let you go. It's easy to see how much you hurt me, but my heart keeps telling me I'm wrong. After all of this time, you think that I'd know why I keep holding on. Please don't make me leave you, 'cause I'm the one who loves you so. Please don't make me leave you, 'cause I could never let you go. That I see a way to break free, I stay standing still, 'cause I see you there. I wish I didn't care, but I do, and I always will. Please don't make me leave, 'cause I'm the one who loves you so. Please don't make me leave you, 'cause I could never let you go.
Doug Collins, the receptionist, with Please Don't Make Me Leave You from their 2018 release.
I liked your lip syncing on that one, Helen. That was great.
I feel like you need like that mic. Like, I mean, I don't know when you play this song live. I know you're usually playing guitar. Maybe you are when you do the song live, but I feel like what you need to be doing is just grabbing that mic and like.
And it needs to be like a ribbon microphone. What I mean? So like an old school one, I got to like turn it down like that. Yes.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Like you're dancing with the mic. That's what I.
Well, yeah. I'm well known for my excellent talent.
Well, I'm so glad that you did bring that one to.
I mean, it's like one of those things. Like I said, I did. Yeah. Thank you. It was not something like I was usually writing, and it's so weird because, listening to it now is just like, we don't have a piano player. I'm just like, who's playing piano? And they're like, oh, wait, we did have a piano player. And now we have all those parts taken over by Randy Broughton, which is wonderful. Randy, you're wonderful. And I love
So who is playing piano on this?
Jeff Victor.
Oh, yeah.
So he did a couple songs of the record, and he was just wonderful, just great.
Can I ask a little bit about the recording, like where it was recorded, and was this one of those kind of sessions where you're all kind of together in a room, or was this something that happened over with layers over time?
This was most of this. This one, I think we did. I laid down a scratch track, rough vocals and acoustic, and then we had the drums come in and play to that, and then we built on top of that. Not every song was like that. I think this was one of them. And then, and then obviously we bought in the piano player came in separately. And, but yeah, it was, we do both on the new record that we're getting ready to release. There's, I'd say half of the songs are pretty much live in the studio. There's a little tweaking afterwards, of course, but this one was kind of like built from the bottom up.
Okay. And where was it recorded?
At Uptown Sound on 26th and Hennepin with Rob Genetic.
All right.
Please see Rob Genetic for any of your recording needs. He's wonderful.
Yeah, he's a great engineer. Actually, a couple of our past guests have worked with him. I know John Gorka has in the past. And great engineer and also great drummer.
Yes, he is a great drummer. Him and I did a tour of Spain together for this record, and Spain and Portugal. And it was
a duo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, he's so good about it. He's just like, I got this thing figured out. And he bought a whole drum kit in a suitcase. Nice. And he had my guitar go directly into the PA because he had a processing box. Don't ask me. Yeah. But and that was it was just wonderful. And he's a great drummer and just a really good friend. So
Very cool.
Very cool. And again, if you like what you hear, you can get this album on Bandcamp. And also, if you want to get a CD copy and you can't find Doug's gray Camry in your town, then the good news is there's a contact page at dougcollinsmusic.com.
Yeah.
And you could just drop him a note there and he can help you out there. So,
yes, I would love to.
Because I will say this sounds fantastic. It does have this great vintage.
Yeah.
The quality just sounds so good. It almost sounds like it was. I mean, I know it wasn't recorded analog, but it has that kind of feel, that tape feel to the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I don't ask me anything about how anything was done that way. So I would just be able to say I would just defer you to Rob Genetic. But I think he did a wonderful job.
You're not the technical type of person.
Yeah, ask Ellen today. She asked for some help on stuff, and I was just like, "What? What do you do with what?
What's the internet?"
Another thing, and I was just like, and honestly, I just started sweating. So I'm just like typing on. I will figure this out.
He actually had the face that he has in the cover of that album. He was like,
I know.
What download?
Except with more tears.
Well, the reason I asked though is that one of the things that I'm always curious about with songwriters is how you collect your songs. You know, like, are you a notebook person? Do you have a tape recorder you carry around? What's your songwriting capture process like?
Usually, there are a couple ways. I always have a stenographer's notebook, so then you can flip the pages over. And I do a lot of scribbling that way. The other thing is a lot of songwriters are like this. Long car rides are the boon to songwriting because it's like you're driving and all of a sudden something will pop in my head and then it'll be like, thank God for cell phones, because I'll put on record and, I get
voice memo or something like that.
Yes, exactly. And it's all, and I hate listening back to it because it's just like, be really breathy, saying some things.
The semi truck driving by or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, here's another song about a convoy. That's weird. But that's the way, those two ways, are the way that I usually do it. It's a lot of, it's always just kind of waiting for that moment of inspiration. And as soon as I get something that I know, that I think I can mold into something, I will write it down or talk it. And a lot of times that you end up throwing away most of it, but there's nothing to me that's more exciting and fulfilling than that moment when you know that you're starting to write a song. Because that to me is always just like, yes.
I know what I'm doing for the next week.
And then by the time it's done, then it's just like, I have wasted my life. I don't know what I'm doing. But you
What
know,
am I doing?
I do get that 1 minute, so it does
Yeah.
feel great.
That
Well,
is funny.
speaking of new songs, I know I don't know if this just started the pandemic or if I just started noticing during the pandemic because we were all on our computers all the time. But it seems like often on Sundays you share new songs
Yeah.
on is that on Facebook or
Facebook and Instagram, I
yeah.
do. Well, you know, as like we were saying during the pandemic, what were we doing? You know, and it was so hard because I had friends who were doing like live streams, and I can't do that because I really feed off the energy of a crowd. I did one once, and it's just like, what do you say in between in between songs if you're doing it by
To a
yourself?
camera.
Right? Hey, how am I doing? But so, you know, when I was writing, I had nowhere to share these. You know, I used to go to a lot of open mics, and that was another way that I would try and get songs out there and to see like get audience reaction and stuff. So finally, I just started doing. I started with one. I was just like, well, I have a couple, and then you know, they just kept going and going. And so, like, you know, I did a lot for like a year and a half, and then you know, and now I feel like I'm kind of writing things. R-I, not W-R. I'm writing less right now, but I think it's just because I wrote so damn much during the pandemic. So it's fine.
Well, and that's pretty exciting that you did because I know it's funny. Everyone we've talked to, because we started the show right around
Yeah.
the shutdown. in
That's what we
March of
did.
20
We missed the interaction, right? Like
So we
we
started
couldn't talk to a
this.
distant
Sure,
camera.
yeah.
We needed you guys.
Yeah, and but it seems like everyone. It feels like most artists are either one or the other. They either like wrote a lot during the pandemic, or they like it was like desert in despair.
And I was
Fetal position.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. I was lucky enough to do both. But I had a friend who said
You wrote in the fetal position.
and it says here, what is that? No. But a friend of mine said he just wrote a song for the first time in like 2 years. And he was a pretty regular writer. And, you know, everyone has their own way of dealing. I mean, that was my way of kind of dealing with the stress. It was a way for me to kind of get out of my head and, you know, stop looking at my phone all the time and be like, the world's ending. What am I going to do? Instead of then sitting down and being like G, 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 C, G. And that is a lot better for my state of mind.
Well, it's funny because I just felt like because I feed off so much about experience and like places I go and people I talk to that I was like, I'm talking to the same people all the time. So I had like, I was like, I have nothing to say because I haven't been
Sitting
doing
in my
anything.
sweatpants, watching some Netflix tonight.
It'll be like every night. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's the same
Yeah,
song.
Every song over and over again. It's just like, wow. So she watched Air America starring Mel Gibson. Huh, good for you.
I'm glad I did not record that song. That's for sure. But we are so glad you recorded these songs
Yes.
ahead of the pandemic. And again, I do want to mention before we dive into our last song that you again today is release day for you, Doug. I know this show is all
Yes.
about old music, but you did just put out a new single today called "Drinking Again," which I'm sure was born out of that pandemic. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was coming back from a gig, and I misheard a song title, and I was just like, so I started singing it, and it was just like that wasn't the song, and I was just like, I like the phrase, "It's time to start drinking again." I liked it, and then I was like, well, what's it about? Once again, it's just like I did not want to have one of these like newer country songs where like alcoholism is a celebration.
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
just like, I'm going to get drunk with my buddies and blah, blah, blah. And mine is just like, the song is about a guy falling off the wagon. I think the song is, you know, it's sad, but it's also, there's a celebratory nature to it. So it's just like, that's what,
Yeah, I think we were talking about wordsmithing earlier, and I feel like just even adding that again changes
Yeah.
the feel of the song. Like it adds
Right.
some tension. Like, oh, again.
Right.
yeah, I know and I do think it came out different than I had a rough idea for it once again. And then bringing it to the fellas, I was just like, I think I have something. And there was one that we got done playing it once and we knew we had something.
Yeah.
And that's always like that. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's a lot, you know, it's like anything. Sometimes it's harder to get to where you're going. And this one was like I said, when you have good players and Charlie Varley, sometimes I love Chuck. Sometimes it's, it just helps so much. And they make me sound a lot better than I am. So I always feel very lucky. Once again,
That's
thank you.
always the goal, to have
Yeah.
a band members that you think are better than yourself.
Oh, yeah. That's the only way you can get better.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I just want to point out that today's kind of a convergence in some ways. This is the first time we've had a guest that actually was releasing music on the day that we're actually doing this. And it happens to be Bandcamp Friday. So if you're listening to this on Friday, April 1st,
and it's April Fool's Day,
2022, no
That's not
fooling.
cool. No fooling.
Doug Collins' new single is out right now. Head to Doug Collins and the receptionist.bandcamp.com. Pick it up. Maybe throw a little more in there than he's charging for it to show him how much you appreciate what he's doing. We're really excited that you decided to spend your release day with us, Doug. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, really, for having me. This is wonderful.
Well, we're going to listen to one more song from your older album that we have been featuring today, Good Sad News. And this is I Saw You Dancing. Anything you want to say about it?
This is just one of those ones. I was at, I was somewhere, a bar or something, and I saw somebody dancing. And I thought that I love that phrase. And then once again, then it's like, as I say, it's just all elbow grease after that. Just like, what is that? Are you happy you saw somebody dancing? What did you see when I saw them dancing? So listen to the song and tell me what you think.
Yeah, well, like good art, everyone has their own interpretation.
Yes.
So everybody, close your eyes and think about the last person you saw dancing. This is Doug Collins. I Saw You Dancing on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I saw you dancing. It was beautiful to see. I saw you dancing, but it wasn't with me. I saw you moving slow across the floor. I saw you moving, reminding me of before. I don't know if you love me. That was so long ago. Even if you didn't love me, well, I can't let it go. I saw you dancing. I don't want to know his name. I saw you dancing. And now I'm walking away. I don't know if you love me. That was so long ago. Even if you didn't love me, well, I can't let it go. I saw you dancing. I don't want to know his name. And I saw you dancing. And now I'm walking away. I saw you dancing. And now I'm walking away.
Doug Collins, the receptionist, with that great classic country feel. I Saw You Dancing from their 2018 release, Good Sad News, which we have been revisiting today on the back catalog listening party. What a great tune. It really has that. I love songs about dancing where you could actually dance to them. And that has that
I was
Lee's Liquor
to that
Lounge
beat.
vibe.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Sure.
Rest in
I'll take
peace.
that. Yeah.
I know.
Right.
That was a fantastic. Love the pedal steel. Was that Randy?
No, that was Joe Savage.
Oh well.
That was pre-Randy. So.
All right. Well, both equally skilled.
Oh
on the pedal
yeah.
steel. I'm a sucker for good pedal steel work.
Yeah. Well,
man,
yeah. I mean, it says so much without saying anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that. It just always pulls at the heart very, very effectively.
It does. When I hear the lyrics and then I start kind of thinking about what you're saying, but then when the pedal steel says it connects in a different way, like just like you're saying. It really is like another voice that just it sings so well, and it worked really great together. What a great song.
Oh, thank you so much.
And folks, man, you can get the high-res quality files today on Bandcamp. And Doug will get 100% of the sales when you get it today. Yes, so this is a good time to do it.
You might as well grab his new single as well.
I know. Get it all, throw in a little extra in the tip jar. And also, and again, if you want a CD copy, you can go to his website, DougCollinsmusic.com. We also threw in a link for you Twin Cities folks, because there's a bunch of you out there. He has a big single release show at Palmer's Bar on April 29th, and it's the site of where he filmed his new video, which is not out yet, but I've seen, I've gotten a look at it, and it's pretty great. So
awesome.
So you can check that out. But we would just want to thank Doug for joining us today.
Oh, thank you both so much for having me. Thank you.
Thanks
this
for
is
making
great.
us step up our game.
I know. I was like, we were wearing sweatpants and t-shirts, and then Doug showed up, and we ran and got a wardrobe change.
I am still wearing sweatpants, but
well, just business up top is what we're.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
thank you both so much for having me. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks. Thanks. I'm grateful today. So thank you.
And thank you, Gary. And again, we're so grateful. This is what we do every week, Tony and I, not always with Doug Collins, so we don't always look as good. Right. But we invite different guest artists to join us and revisit old records together. And this is the, 102nd, third episode today?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're going strong. And one of the reasons is because you guys tune in and you give it the like on YouTube. So if you like the show, like it there, send the bots to Doug Collins. And also, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out what's coming up next. And I can tell you what's coming up next week. Chris Smither, legendary folk blues artist.
Don't want to miss that one.
It's going to be super good. So you'll want to check that out. And thank you so much, John, for joining us today.
Thank you, John Brandt.
And you guys are what makes this happen every week. And the other folks that make this happen is our Patreon supporters. These folks said when we were like, do we keep doing this now that things have opened up? And these folks said, yes. You have to keep doing it. And we're going to give you money to make sure that you can keep doing it. Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, and John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Court, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Craig, Jake, Mary, and Many Tracks. And if you want to get on the Patreon train and get some special perks like after parties with the guests, special Zoom concerts, all that kind of good stuff, you can do that by joining our Patreon page.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much for supporting this show, but most importantly, independent music, right? That's kind of like where our heart is. This is a new world, new landscape for a lot of artists, especially after this hiatus, right? Where we're all coming back at this and being like, but it was the musicians that got me through this last 2 years. I don't know about you. And
the records. I mean,
exactly. It was all this great art that was still there that kind of kept me going, kept me afloat. And so, you can show your support by either joining our Patreon, but more importantly, supporting the artists that we have on the show each week, because it tells them, hey, we like what you're doing. Do more, because the more good art that gets out there, the better the world is.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for watching, and everyone, all the sweet comments, and the people who purchased anything. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much, and thank you, Ellen and Anthony, for having me. I'm so excited that half of my headphone just dropped out. That's how.
Well, Doug, and happy release day. We're so excited for your new single.
Congratulations!
Oh, thank you. Cheers, everybody.
Again. All right. Cheers.
Have a
We'll
great
see you
weekend,
next week.
everybody.
All right. Take care, everybody.